Welcome to another episode of Dialogue with the Dukes. Today we are having an interview concerning Kindland. And I'm sure that many of you have seen the signs around the high school that talk about Kindland. And obviously it was shall we say, a thing that has come on in parroting Cleveland and Believe Land. So today we have to talk about Kindland, we have Miss Kathleen Dickason. She is the facilitator for Kindland here at Wellington High School. Welcome, glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
I found out last night by watching the local news on TV that Kindland has been around for actually 28 years ago. In fact, on Memorial Day 28 years ago, the city of Wickliffe actually started Kindland, and it was the first city in Ohio to actually embrace the idea behind Kindland, and they interviewed several people about Wickliffe and Kindland and so on. But we want to bring it down here to the high school level. So we have Miss Kathleen Dickason. And first of all, the way we got involved was something that you watched from Leon Bibb, which I believe is the NBC station person here in Cleveland, and they're talking about COVID-19. If you could expound upon that.
Yes, Leon Bibb did a video which we had in our assembly in April that talked about when during COVID all of the hatred that was being put out on in the news and on the website, that he had the idea to use Kindland as a way of spreading kindness rather than hatred, to oversee that and to replace it.
Yeah, well, certainly there's enough hatred going around. Just the last 2 weeks with the shootings involved, there's enough hatred going around, and kindness is certainly a much better thing. What would be the philosophy of Kindland?
Spreading kindness, to do small acts of kindness for other people, not expecting anything basically in return, but to hopefully make it catch on so that those people that you do the kind act for then would be encouraged to do a kind act for someone else, and to making all of Northeast Ohio to become a kind land.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
to get it to spread.
Just like it would be Believe Land or Cleveland. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I understand that. Well, let's bring it down, if we could, to the high school level. What are we trying to do here at Wellington High School, or what are you trying to do to spread the idea behind, or the philosophy behind Kindland? I know that you had an assembly.
Yes.
Talk to us about the assembly and what you're trying to do here at the high school level.
Well, we started with an assembly, Be Kind, Stick Together, where we had 8 students facilitate a program to the other students, and take a pledge to spread kindness. Since then, we have been using an app called Just Be Kind app, where they post acts of kindness, and other small things that we've been doing. We've done displays in the hallways and things like that. During our community days, we had a van that went around that we decorated as the Kind Van, and these same students gave out water and snack bars to the kids that were out actually doing yard work and whatnot, and posted those things on the app as well. These will be the students that will roll this program out again in the fall and mentor our middle school students in teaching them how to facilitate this Be Kind act.
Well, I just happened to notice on the news last night the city of Wickliffe has a similar situation. They had a big, huge board out there at this ceremony that they had yesterday on Memorial Day, and they did the same thing. They posted several acts of kindness that they did, like washing somebody's car, cutting somebody's lawn, things like that. So they had a big, huge board, and everybody was filling out the things that they had done being kind there in the city of Wickliffe. Well, do you feel like, you mentioned the 8 students, do you feel like this idea or philosophy is catching on? Do you think that this is something that will be prevalent here within not only the high school level, but throughout the school district?
I do, because we started with these 8 students, and since then the group is growing. It's open to all the students, and I've found that since then, I've had other students that say, I want to be part of this, I want to help. Can I volunteer?
Sure.
Do you have something that I can do too?
Mm-hmm.
So I have kids every day that will come up to me and ask me for something to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it certainly sounds like we hope that it'll be successful here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're going into the summer. The seniors are already gone, and school will be closing here in about a week or so. So what kind of summer activities are involved with the Kindland project?
Well, I just sent out a sign up for volunteers that want to be contacted for things that we might be able to do over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some ideas. I'm hoping to get a lot of volunteers to react to that. And I'm working with our superintendent and Mr. Kisner and all the Kindland people.
Mm-hmm.
To put together some ideas that we can go out in the community and do some great stuff for during the summer to keep this thing going.
Yeah.
And using the app to continue to post kind things that students are doing and keeping up with it that way.
Mm-hmm. How do they download the Kindland app? How do they do that? Or what's the name of it? Or how do they get involved that way?
You just go to the website, justbekindapp.com.
Okay.
And it gives you all the instructions right there. We have QR codes all over the high school. Any of the students, a lot of them have the little bookmarks that I make, and I just give them out all over the place. And they just download it. And you can put it on your phone. Anytime I post stuff, I share it on Facebook.
Sure.
And they can reply to any of my posts, and I'll have them out there. It's spreading all over the place. I've got businesses in the community that are putting the bookmarks in their businesses already.
Well, that's good.
So.
Well, we'd like to thank Miss Kathleen Dickason for coming in and talking about Kindland, because I knew nothing about Kindland until I talked to her a week or two ago, something about that, because I had no idea what it was all about. And then, like I said, just happened to watch the local news last night, and they had a big blurb on it on not only the Fox News channel but also the NBC channel too. So I learned more about it. So we certainly hope that here at Wellington High School and throughout the entire school district, that this idea of Kindland actually catches on, because we obviously know that being kind is so much better than the hatred involved. So again, Ms. Dickason, thank you very much for coming in and explaining this to us. We'll be back after this message when we have a summary that has taken place here in all of the Dialogue with the Dukes episodes that we have done this year, specifically having to do not only with the Dialogue with the Dukes, but also the Thrive interviews that we ended up doing this year as a special corollary to Dialogue with the Dukes. We'll be back after this message. This, to the best of my knowledge, is the summary and the totals of the shows that we have done. So far this year, we have done 24 Dialogue with the Dukes, covering 29 subjects, and we've had 11 Thrive interviews covering 14 different subjects for the Mind, Body, and Spirit project. So that brings a total of 35 shows that we have done so far this year, including 43 of them, or having 43 subjects in those 35 shows. First of all, in the athletic department, we interviewed 29 athletes this year, and we interviewed 2 coaches, and we had 14 sports, and that includes not only boys and girls, as an example in basketball. So here are the shows that we highlighted for the athletic season this year. We did do a show on football. We did boys and girls soccer. We had a show on cross country, golf, and volleyball. We did a show on cheerleading for the first time this year. We had boys and girls basketball. We had boys and girls bowling. We had wrestling. We had boys baseball, girls softball, and we also had boys and girls track. And as a special indication of how good the teams were this year, we had one team, the girls soccer team. They were the LCA champs again for this year. And the Thrive, or the Mind-Body Project, as I said, we did 11 shows on that, covering 14 different subjects. We had the Thrive facilitator who started off, Carol Burke, who explained what the Thrive program was. Then we also interviewed for the Rural Response Network, the Educational Service Center, and then we went into winter exercise. And we talked about the challenge that was initiated amongst 3 schools, that being Wellington, Midview, and that school out east in LaGrange. And as a special side note, to note that this year, for the 2nd year in a row, Wellington won the STEPS Challenge. We also had shows on substance use and abuse. We had youth and exercise, and we had several videotapes of youth exercising not only in the classroom, but also out on the gym floor. We also had food and nutrition, in which we had 2 shows on that. We had a show called A Dose of Knowledge. We talked about underage drinking and the dangers with underage drinking. We talked about the social emotional learning and what that involves. And we had Main Street Wellington come in, Miss Jenny Arts, and we talked about how Main Street Wellington actually is involved in the Thrive program. And then we also had a show on something called CEO of Life. When we come back, we will talk about all the special programs that we had here in the school, and specifically having to do with principals, superintendents, and so on. This is Dialogue with the Dukes. Young ladies, we hope that if you have a need for clothing in your closet, we suggest you visit the Truly Simple Boutique located at 134 West Herrick. And guys, if there's a special present or gift that you would like to give your best gal, go ahead and visit the Truly Simple Boutique, once again located at 134 West Herrick. In the first part of the summary, we talked about the athletic events that took place as far as the shows, and we also talked about Thrive. Those were the 2 main subjects that we had for the year, in which I said we had a total of 35 total shows, which included not only the athletics, but all of the shows, which we're about to delineate here, the special shows that we had, and then the 11 Thrive shows that we had. As I said, we had several special interviews today, or this past year. 4 of them included teachers here at Wellington High School. And the first one was with the music director, Miss Haley Sleggs. And we had to do her twice because of a problem as far as the audio was concerned. So we actually interviewed her twice. We also talked about the Winter Endurance Challenge, as I talked about with Thrive, with Miss Carol Burke, and the fact that Wellington did win. We also interviewed Mr. Conklin. He was the director for the spring play. And we also talked to him about the Winter Endurance Challenge itself and what took place out there on the farm at the Conklin's residence. We also talked about the student council, and we also had 1 student involved with that, as well as the school newspaper, in which we also had 1 student being interviewed for the school newspaper itself. We also talked about the play, that being Night Watch was the name of it. And we interviewed 2 of the performers, one adult, one of the students involved with the play, and it turned out to be a very successful play for that being at the Lindley Center. We also had our standard Wellington High School choir Christmas special, and during that they sang several songs, and we also had several readers involved with the Christmas special. We also interviewed Donna Keaton, obviously the principal here at Wellington High School, and her challenges that she thought that she would have to face for her first year here at Wellington High School. And as I said, we talked about the Winter Endurance Challenge itself, and we interviewed 2 students concerning that, and that had to do with the way that the pictures were taken, the video was taken, and so on, with not only cameras, but also with the drone. We also talked with the Lindley Center director, Miss Dottie Cianciola, and we talked about how she was the managing director and put all of this film together from the Winter Endurance Challenge. We also talked about the Duke Pride Carnival, and I admitted that I had never been to the Duke Pride Carnival, but we talked to Superintendent Ed Weber about that and what was involved with the Duke Pride Carnival. And then we also talked with the Great Lakes Theater Group, who came in for a week, and we also interviewed two of their actors. We not only talked about what was taking place here at Wellington High School, but also what is taking place currently with the Great Lakes Theater and the play that they have ongoing. I think it may have just ended here, or may end here at the very end of the month, and that was called 39 Steps. We also interviewed Dottie Sanciola for the, as well as Mr. Dave Conklin, about the installation of the new lighting system on stage at the Patricia and Lendley Center. And finally, we interviewed just today, we just interviewed Miss Kathleen Dickason concerning Kindland and what the Kindland program is all about. We'll be back again next year for other episodes of Dialogue with the Dukes.